Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media, where today we're decoding the Trump tweets of June 26th. The first one, Thomas, reads, early this year, Harley-Davidson said they would move much of their plant operations in Kansas City to Thailand. That was long before tariffs were announced. Hence, they were just using tariffs, trade wars as an excuse. Shows how unbalanced and unfair trade is, but we will fix it. Do you want me to read the one after it too?
No, that's good. Let's stop there for a second. And yes, Trump tweets. Oh, I love Trump tweets because there's always so much to them. Okay, you guys are going to mess around with Trump, and you come and you lied to him when you knew you already had the deal in Thailand, and then you come and you made a big deal so that your brand name would go up, and you got Trump to support you for your brand name, and now you're going to go to Thailand because why? You're going to make smaller bikes, cheaper bikes. They're going to be awful, and the people who own the company are going to make a friggin' fortune. And they'll have all the drugs and all the things that Thailand provides, which is as criminal as it can be. And as soon as they say one wrong word against the person who runs Thailand, they put you in jail or kill you. So go ahead. Good luck with going to Thailand and opening a business there. It will not be your business anymore, which tells me they've already sold out and they were lying to him when he was there just to get more branding so that they could sell their company for a bigger amount.
Well, the tweet continues on. We are getting other countries to reduce and eliminate tariffs and trade barriers that have been unfairly used for years against our farmers, workers, and companies. We are opening up closed markets and expanding our footprint. They must play fair or they will pay tariffs.
Closed markets, insert the word China. Footprint, insert the word we are going to manufacture. You are not going to take our IP anymore, China. And you are not going to just simply manufacture for us, steal our IP, make knockoffs, and then sell them for half the price. It's not going to happen anymore.
Well, you know, I hear that about the IP in China. You mentioned this before, but what are we going to do about the U.S. Patent Office stealing intellectual property from American entrepreneurs?
They steal it up front from the patent, you're right, and that's the British and Serco, and we've shown how that goes. But the Chinese like to just do it from reverse engineering. They say, oh yeah, we'll build this for you, but it has to be built in China, and now please give us the specs to build it. Oh, now we're going to make one just like it, but we're going to put our control devices in it. There's no such thing as anything coming out of China for America that isn't meant to harm us. Think back historically, folks. They're not our friends. And if you do business with them, you better be careful. That was a closed market for a long time, and then it became open by the World Trade Organization, which Trump wants to basically close down. I want to point out something. The farmers have been treated so badly that after veterans, the #1 category of worker in America for suicide is a farmer. Why? NAFTA. Trade deals. Obama selling out his own people.
But think about this. Without our farmers, we have no country. We have to eat.
Obama murdered workers, killed farmers, and bombed U.S. companies, economically speaking. He destroyed everything that we had in this country and sold out to literally island nations like Taiwan to become our manufacturing centers. And then we have to pay the shipping costs back and forth, and then that fed the OPEC dollar, and it's just an insane thing. Now we do it with South Korea, and we're going to do it soon with North Korea as soon as they come around. And Taiwan, China is beating up on Taiwan right now. As I've said, the big war right now is China and Taiwan on the earth, and then our border, our economic war with China, and our war on our southern border. And so please remember that when Trump is fighting for farmers, he's fighting for farmers' lives.
Okay. The next tweet continues on with Harley-Davidson. Officials over to the White House. I chided them about tariffs in other countries like India being too high. Companies are now coming back to America. Harley must know that they won't be able to sell back into U.S. without paying a big tax.
They know that and like we were harping on this, and we were giving the decoded in between the lines message when he first brought up Harley-Davidson. Now he's saying exactly what we said. They had to have known this. This is the end of their company. This is the end of Harley-Davidson. Why? They're selling out, and he's basically calling them sellouts.
The next tweet We are finishing our study of tariffs on cars from the EU, and that they have long taken advantage of the U.S. in the form of trade barriers and tariffs. In the end, it will all even out, and it won't take very long. And you know why it won't take very long is because we have a master tweeter here. Wow, he knows how to load up these information bombs and bullets and fire them. Very effective.
Oh, he really does. Matter of fact, that's exactly what I was thinking here. Just these little remarks. We are finishing our study of tariffs on cars from the EU. That just struck fear in every other country that he didn't mention tariffs on. It's not only if they make cars, but that he's looking at all of them. Oh, I'm not going to look at the EU and their $151 billion deficit that we have. Oh no, the $151 billion we give the EU a year, and we don't need to do any of it because we can do our own manufacturing. There's really no resources in the EU that we can't do here in America. And if they want to do it here, they can come build a company here and use Americans and pay proper prices and pay taxes and so on and so forth.
You know, another thing we can do here in America that they can't do in the EU, and we can sell them, those would be memes. We're great at making our memes, and now that they can't because of Article 13 over in the EU, give us a call. We'll send you our memes.
The European Union of Soros, yes, is now a non-free state. No free speech is allowed. But as you pointed out, I haven't researched it, the Parliament has voted that significant vote to exit the EU. Well, that would make George Soros very upset. So now he's going to go to war with the Brits.
They say that they have to go through the details.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the devil is in the details. So this is just, I hear on one hand, that's great. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh, it's going to take how many years to unravel this? They could do it faster, but they won't.
Well, it all depends upon how much money Soros pays to Brits. Because you see, he padded the pockets of every single non-elected member of the European Union, but he didn't do a good job with the Brits. And they went over there to rip off the European Union, the Brits did. And he knew that, and now they're getting out because they saw what they could get. Now they want to align with Americans. Now they can't come to America because Trump knows that they're a bunch of lying pack of wolves working directly out of the Privy Council of the Queen and attacking our elections and stealing our
patents out of the patent office and running
economy.
Our rogue government called the Senior Executive Service.
Creating trade barriers. Oh, we're a little island country, so we get all these trade barriers we put on you. But you can't put any barriers on us. That's the way that works. All countries sold us whatever junk they had and then told us that anything that, we wanted to send to them, no, not really. Okay, that's ending. And how fast is that ending? In 1 year. In 1 year. We've already seen it happen. We saw it happen with taxes so fast that it made the biggest turnaround in American economic history. We saw it with North Korea so fast that he knocked out 17 candidates in the election. He's knocking out Obama and his criminal conspiracy that tried to overthrow him and is still trying to overthrow him. And it's just every day they reveal themselves. So how long is it going to take? 1 year with trade. Either they get on board or they can go, and we'll do it. Because we can do it. Yeah, we can build Harleys here. We don't need to go to Thailand to get a cheap version of it.
It was great being with Governor Henry McMaster last night in South Carolina. Henry is tough on crime and borders, loves our military and our vets, and has created many jobs and a great economy. Then, in capital letters, Trump spells out, "Go out and vote for Henry today. He will never let you down."
He is spending a lot of effort on this. It must be very key to him. So if he is doing this for this person so much, it isn't because he would have said if it was because of friendship. No, he's saying because he's a great guy, and this must be crucial. So people there, go out and vote. Trump does not put it in all bolds, all caps, unless it is critical.
Yes, and he is letting us know who he needs on his team in order to make America great again. And the sooner that we can give our president the players he needs, that's how we build a winning team. And we all know how to play football here, and we want a winning team. I know that sounds hokey, but that's the way it is. I'm sorry,
exactly
I'm an
right.
old Florida State fan, and you can't take the Seminole out of the girl. Okay, Yeah, that's for real. You know, I was back in the Bobby Bowden days. And that's when it was really good football. But, of course, it was the only thing you could do in Tallahassee. Oh, let me digress. Okay. A Harley-Davidson should never be built in another country. Never. Their employees and customers are already very angry at them. If they move, watch. It will be the beginning of the end. They surrendered. They quit. The aura will be gone, and they will be taxed like never before.
And another company will arise that will build Harley lookalikes exactly, probably in the exact same building that the old ones were built, because you aren't going to stop this industry and the faith that Americans have for American products. He is absolutely right. And notice he uses the word aura. Ooh, secret word. That means a glow about them. Well, there was a glow about Harley Davidson, so that's the reason they could charge so much, because they were handmade, basically, and they were the most beautiful bike on the earth, and all Harley guys and gals know that, and they love them. So this is like saying goodbye to America. It's absolutely stupid.
No, I just say out with the old, because they're probably all run by a bunch of liberals anyway. A new company could be born, and we can call them MAGA cycles. And these could be, you know, after who we are as an Americans, what Harley was at one time, but no longer is.
I love that. MAGA
cycles. And we want that vehicle to look as shiny and bright as any Trump hotel. Every detail taken care of. Don't you see it? Nice leather. You know? Okay.
Better than even current Harley Davidsons.
Yes.
A little step up.
Yes.
You know, increase the technology so that the cheapened version of Harley that they sell to the Taiwanese government, by the way, you might be thinking you're selling it to a person, Harley Davidson guys and gals on the board. No, you're not. You're selling it to a country that has a divine king ruler who speaks for God. And if you even cross them, they put you in jail forever or kill you. So good luck with that. I can hardly believe that they would choose Thailand. That is the most ridiculous choice they could make.
Okay, the face of the Democrats is now Maxine Waters, who, together with Nancy Pelosi, have established a fine leadership team. They should always stay together and lead the Democrats, who want open borders and unlimited crime, well into the future, and pick crooked Hillary for president. Before you get started on that, we just finished an audio where you wrapped together all of those characters. Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, crooked Hillary, and you also added Dianne Feinstein.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the way that I'd do it this time, because he uses the word face. The face is Maxine Waters and Dianne Pelosi. Yeah, they're two-faced, and both are just disturbingly good members of the Republican team. They are the best players on the Republican team because every time they open their mouth, they lose Democrats and we gain Republicans because they are so ugly. And every time they open their mouth, they get uglier. And Pelosi's teeth pop out of her head and she can't remember who the president is. And she gets everything wrong and she doesn't know where she is. 12 times in one speech, she forgot what she was saying, what she was doing, okay? She is completely senile. And Maxine Waters, oh, keep on yelling until they lock you up. That would just be beautiful. And then people like Loretta Lynch, who told people to go out and literally get killed on the street, to resist, to cause blood, to draw blood, to die. Okay? That's those kind of those faces. Yeah, they need to just go to jail. Then we have the heart of the Democrats. And that would be the two black evil hearts of Mark Warner and Adam Schiff. One on the Senate Intelligence Committee, one on the House Intelligence Committee, who just every time they open their mouth, they tell such fantastic lies. They're just like Pelosi and Maxine Waters. They couldn't tell the truth without a part of them just bursting inside. And who is the last person I'm going to put on this list? That's the face, the heart. Well, I'm going to name Chuck Schumer as the ass of the Democratic Party because he is nothing but an obstructionist ass. And that's the way that I would look at that. Hillary Clinton, not president. And anyone who could elect her just shows that they are not thinking, period. They cannot possibly be thinking and elect Hillary Clinton for any office after we've seen the crime she's already committed and her husband.
And remember, that those elections were so rigged for Hillary at so many different profound levels. You cannot believe it. If you've listened to all of our audios, you'll know how profound the election rigging went. And she still lost, which says a lot about the patriot movement out here. So if you're feeling kind of down about things and you're thinking things aren't moving fast enough for you, remember, we won the first big hurdle, and we're going to win every single one of these things that's on the Trump agenda. So you gotta hang in there, continue to educate and enlighten anyone you can. Now, the next tweet comes from a quote from Judge Andrew Napolitano. Quote, "The most profound question of our era. Was there a conspiracy in the Obama Department of Justice and the FBI to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president of the U.S. and was struck at the core of the conspiracy?" Close quote.
I have two answers for that. First part is yes. Second part is you have to add a few things. So is it in our era, that era back to the first revolution, the American Revolution? Yes. Since then till now, this is the biggest conspiracy. Because it's to unseat, not only destroy an election, but unseat a duly elected president, even as we speak. But then, Judge, the reason Napolitano is where he is because he adds things. Is Strzok at the core of the conspiracy? Yes, we told you that that's who they would blame from the beginning. But you need to add something there, Judge. You need to add who is at the core? No, not Strzok. Obama was at the core. Strzok's messages prove that. Therefore, Biden, Rice, Comey, Clapper, Lynch, Kerry, Warner, Schiff, Clinton, Podesta, and the rest of the D.C. mob were at the core. And Strzok was simply taking orders. And so everybody's going to paint him as the fall guy, and we told you they would. We told you. We named it instantaneously. Long before anybody else did, before we even knew his name. Basically, look, y'all, they're going to cover with national security as their excuse that they attacked Trump as a Soros color revolution before the election and as a Soros regime change after the election. And it's going to fall to one person. Whoever the head of the FBI counterintelligence is, his top lieutenant. That's who will go down. And that would be Peter Strzok. So he's kind of at the core of it, but he didn't make that stuff up. He's the idiot who texted out all the trail of evil and criminality he did.
But that goes to show me that, you see, these are like Judge Napolitano. I like him. He's cool, right? But him, Fox News, they just swim in the shallow end. They're never going to get you to the truth. In fact, by the time they get you to the truth, you're going to have gray hair or no hair at all. It's taken them forever. Patriots out there, we're way up to speed. That list you named, people know it down.
Betsy, you just posted, I think today, that article as an example of how Fox can still, with Bret Baier in an interview with Mark Warner, can demonstrate exactly your point. Here's Bret, who never contests for 8 minutes the lies that came out of his mouth that were the exact opposite of what happened. And Bret's just, okay. Just as demure as not. Mark, just because he was being uncontested,
I think
it was unbelievable the lies that poured out of his mouth.
I have to think that Bret Baier is a stupid man. That he could sit in front of Warner and never ask the deep probing questions that everybody out here knows.
How about, why didn't he ask, hey, Mark, while I have you here, tell us about the affair between James Wolfe and Alvy Watkins and the way that leaking became institutionalized. Oh, can you tell us about what we now know with Henry Kerner was actually McCain's stooge who controlled you guys and went between all the agencies and now is in control of all. Basically, he's the official who's supposed to be helping all whistleblowers. He's the person who makes sure that no whistleblower ever happens. Nobody ever hears what William Binney or any of the others ever brought forth. And so why? Because your stooge did that. Oh, how about Daniel Jones, Dianne Feinstein's direct intelligence aide, who then went out and started a new group that took $50 million to continue the work of Fusion GPS. Bret, did any of these questions come to your mind?
No.
Oh, why didn't you ask about literally every single compromised member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, and especially the Gang of Eight, who knew about the dossier before anybody else, before they even told President-elect Trump? If a fifth grader looking at that dossier would have known that was fake, and that the people who wrote it needed to be investigated, not the people named in it. And plus, Mark Warner, wasn't it you who in January of 2016, the first person who sent your aide over to talk to Christopher Steele to basically say, come on over, you're going to be working with the Senate Intelligence Committee to create this dossier that you're being paid for through basically circuitous means, through Fusion GPS, through a lawyer, Eric Elias, through Perkins Coie, to hide the fact that literally donations to the Hillary Victory Fund went to pay for this opposition research, which paid Ukrainians, Brits, Russians, and all kinds of agents to come up with false information used for a FISA court warrant, one of the first ones Comey got in the entire time he'd been there, and especially the only one he ever got for a confirmed Russian spy, Carter Page, who was his FBI asset. He wasn't a confirmed spy. He was the opposite. He was one of the informants sent in. So what we have going on here is as Judge Napolitano likes to say, in our era, the worst conspiracy. And we have been saying it's a conspiracy, but if you don't add all the people, you won't get them, and you won't get them all because too many are involved. We can make a list right now off the top of my head of 50. But you go after the head of the snake. That was Obama. Anyone involved is now spilling the beans that it went straight to the top. It started in the State Department with Alexander Downer sending a message, a man who gave $86 million to the Clinton Foundation, basically illegally for AIDS, where about 2.5% of it actually went to buy drugs that were reduced price to help people with AIDS in Australia. High Commissioner to Britain. He's the one who told Victoria Nuland that basically George Papadopoulos had been set up and framed. And then Victoria also made up a lie saying she got a call from someone in Estonia. Yeah, that was Alexandra Chalupa who called to say, I'm calling Victoria. Nice to have seen you yesterday. But I want to tell you that Putin is in bed with Trump. And I have proof that Paul Manafort received $27 million from the World Bank, and I can produce any proof you want. I have false ledgers I just made up for Manafort, and I have these fake dossiers. Who should I send it to? And Victoria Nuland said, send it to the State Department, through Jonathan Weiner, our contact for this, through APCO Worldwide, who's actually paying for this right now. And we're going to make sure that Stephen Halper will also get this information because we're paying him through the State Department for his fake reports. And then we're going to make sure that Hillary is never... Amanda Renteria has been caught being the go-between between Loretta Lynch and the Hillary campaign, telling her that she would never be convicted and that the email scandal would be turned into simply a matter. Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with you, Mark Warner. There's nothing wrong with you for 8 minutes telling the exact lies that actually happened, saying that Trump was colluding with the Russians at Trump Tower when it was Robert Hannigan, the head of the British NSA, who was using Fort Meade, Maryland, with the permission of John Brennan to spy on him. That's what's really going on.
The Privy Council.
And it goes straight to the Privy Council
and the
because
Strategic Communications Laboratories.
Totally.
Cambridge Analytica.
Totally.
Sir Jeffrey Dearlove.
Patty.
No, Jeffrey Patty and Richard Dearlove.
Yes.
And the Queen Elizabeth.
It goes
and the
straight
Knights
to the
of
top.
Malta. Oh my gosh.
Straight to the top.
See, that's why.
And we've proven it all.
This is why we need a decoder for the Trump tweets, because he doesn't have that many characters.
He didn't get to say this because people would criticize him.
Yeah.
But we believe he knows all of this. We're certain that he knows all of this.
Well, if we know this, certainly a stable genius like Trump would know this.
Correct, because I'm an unstable genius, and he's a stable genius. And so he would already know, but he'd be stable with it. And he would have got it through some intelligence agencies like us and others. Of course he has people gathering this information from everywhere, whether it looks like a crazy conspiracy or not. If you want the truth, first go to the conspiracy. Take out the CIA disinformation perception management, and you will probably find a truth that'll blow your mind, like the Queen owns the golden shares that controls Serco, that controls Lockheed Martin, our largest military contractor. They are in all of our data. Basically, at this moment, Serco runs the data of the military and of huge sections of our civil service, huge sections of all of our airports and our air traffic controllers and our buses and everything. If Serco closed their doors tomorrow, America would stop. We need to get that out of our country. And so Mr. Trump, thank you for the work you're doing. And Judge Napolitano, you are right. This conspiracy goes deep.
Yeah,
but
he's
we have
right.
now concluded, go to Obama
Yeah.
and cut the head of the snake off through a military tribunal.
Okay, I'm just saying, Napolitano, Brett Baier, and Fox News, get out of the shallow end. All right, the final tweet is, Supreme Court upholds Trump travel ban. Wow.
Okay, now, he's excited about that. This is what he really meant to say. You dumb mother
Yeffers.
in the Supreme Court voted 5-4 that all 9 of you didn't vote for what is known historically since the Constitution was created as the demand of the president, the first job of the president. And you don't know that? Throw in the towel, you 4 who voted against that. Any idiot would know that.
Oh, no,
and so
they
he's
get their
saying, well, they
appointments
voted
for
for
life.
it. Oh, yeah, but look at the delays that happened and how many still came in and how many lives will be lost because you won't enforce the U.S. Constitution. You Supreme Court judges who voted against it should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, they're old, and they will die off, and we will replace them with MAGA judges.